Hey guys, Bill Egan, Tournament Director for Western Outdoor News in Wambass. Before we start today's show, I want to let you know about a special event we're doing coming up December 18th. It's the Hog Snatcher Benefit to benefit Aaron Martins and the Martins family. It's happening at Lake Casitas. It's a gathering, not a fishing tournament. You can find out all the details either on Facebook. You can go to wonews.com. We've got a GoFundMe page where we're collecting funds to help Leslie and the kids and the Martins family get through this tough situation. So if you're interested in helping out, check out hashtag the Hog Snatcher Benefit to benefit the Aaron Martins family. You can find it by checking out that hashtag. You can check it out on Facebook. There's a GoFundMe page. So hashtag Hog Snatcher Benefit for Aaron Martins. Check it out. Come see us. Everybody's welcome. It's going to be a day to gather and tell stories about Aaron Martins. December 18th at Lake Casitas. To culminate in the last few minutes there with Roy Hawk and Rusty at the last moment there to crown Roy his second U.S. Open title was pretty darn cool. Come hell or low water, right? We just forgot about the wind part.
Welcome back to the Western Outdoor News Podcast. This week, we're going to start with breaking news from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. They have decided to officially lift the closure that was implemented back in early October as a result of the Huntington Beach oil spill. The CDFW and the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment has determined that there are no longer potential health hazards associated with seafood consumption as a result of that oil spill. So what does this mean for anglers? This opens 45 miles of shoreline from Seal Beach all the way south to Dana Point. This also opens up 650 square miles of the adjacent ocean water that's a prime fishing zone for so many sport boats in the sport fishing fleet. So with water temperatures getting lower and lower, we certainly hope that there is some great fishing as the sport fishing season starts to slow down into the winter. In other news across the West Coast, the newsroom here at Western Outdoor News has received reports of the start of the winter king salmon run on the Sacramento River. We have an excellent photo right now up on the website. Angler Matt Fields has a 26-pound king salmon out of Sacramento River, which is definitely having a moment right now, Sac River. It's a couple weeks ago, we talked to the angler with the 50-plus pound striper on the podcast. Go back and listen to that if you haven't. But Sacramento River, things are definitely heating up as it's starting to get colder up there. Venturing south to Southern California, Diamond Valley Lake has been producing some legit mixed bags. It's no coincidence that Diamond Valley Lake gets 3,000 pounds of Mount Lassen rainbows and 500 pounds of lightning trout, and then we start to see this influx of these giant largemouth and striper coming out of the lake. For more information about the reopening and plenty of current fish reports, read the December 3rd issue of Western Outdoor News, available digitally at wonews.com. Speaking of our digital edition, did you know that you can read Western Outdoor News right on your tablet, phone, or computer? Every print subscriber gets free access with your subscription, but for those of you looking to go online only, we have a special promo code 5OFFWON, W-O-N. You can enter at the checkout of our digital edition that brings the yearly price to only $19.99. It's easily the lowest price of any Western Outdoor News subscription. So to claim that, again, that promo code is 5, the word 5, F-I-V-E, off WON, W-O-N, at checkout. So let's get to our main topic of today's show, WON Bass. Billy Egan joins the show and talks about the 2021 season, the U.S. Open, and some interesting developments for the 2022 season. All right, so we're fresh off the 2021 WON Bass season. I'm here with the Western Outdoor News Tournament Director, Billy Egan. So tell me about the whole season from Arizona, California, and the U.S. Open. Tell me about 2021.
It was an awesome year. I mean, we had a few hurdles to jump over throughout the season, but it started off amazing in February at the Arizona Open at Lake Havasu with over 178, I think it was, boats that we had. Largest tournament ever held at Havasu for the second year consecutively. So
wow, he says with a big smile on his face.
Pretty proud of that. But yeah, I mean, it started off great. We had some great weather for that particular event. The fishing wasn't the best because February's a little bit tougher. Years ago, before we ever started the AZ Open, I used to talk to some of the local guys that, do really well out there. And I'm like, where and when is the toughest year or time of the year to fish Havasu? And they're like, February. And I'm like, great, I'm going to put an open on in February. Just so the guys that usually dominate there, wouldn't have the ability to do so. Amongst the other guys, and give the other guys an opportunity to come out and beat them at their own game. So February is a great time of year at Havasu. Later on in the year, or the month of February, works because it's just starting to build up. The bite quite hasn't gotten there, but they're able to go out and put it together for 5 fish, and the Williams brothers always do pretty well, and with Mike taking away the win at Havasu, it was, just a culmination of 3 great days down there. I mean, a lot of guys showed up for this event. We look forward to seeing them again next year in February. But Todd Klein got second in that event. So it was a overall success. And, right after that, it was gear up for the Cal Open at Clear Lake, which is always a big hit with the anglers. We had 214 boats, which again, toot my horn, breaking records again. We keep breaking records up there. It's the largest pro-am ever held here in California, up at Clear Lake. And to have Cliff King come out on top after 3 days of fishing there, where 7,000 pounds of fish were caught. Literally in 3 days, there was only 2 guys that didn't catch 5 fish limits each day. Literally. And it was kind of a surprise on day 3 when those 2 guys came up with 4 fish. But, everybody was catching 5-pound fish. So to stand above the rest, Cliff King really had to put it together. And it was an amazing effort, great event. And Lakeport was the perfect place for us to run the event with low water up there. Mead wasn't the only place we had to deal with low water issues, but with enough planning, enough time and communication with the communities, the launch ramps and so forth that make these things happen, you can do just about anything. And that shows true just with what happened at the U.S. Open this year. Our 39th anniversary U.S. Open, we were faced with a lot of adversity. Number one was the lake water level. We all knew it was low, and we've been given projections that it was going to get even lower. But
yeah, a lot of people were wondering, hey, how are you going to pull this one off? How are we going to do this? And sure enough, it all came together.
It came together. a lot of effort, communication, visiting the site, coming up with backup plans just in case. Colville, in the national parks, they came together real quick at the end and made an additional ramp that wasn't there week before, which helped out a lot. Hemingway still having a launch site over there helped, but it was my 11 years of running tournaments, the first time with such adversity with, the launch ramp issues. When I turned around at 6:15 and someone said, oh, they're all in the water, I was like, no, there's got to be a lineup somewhere. There's no way we've got all the boats in already. And to have years before that where there were no launch ramp issues with guys backing up and still launching when we were doing the national anthem, to have everybody fall in line and really follow the directions that we had laid forth, it was a proud moment, to kind of get that underway. Obviously, didn't happen exactly the way we wanted. We had some major issues on the previous Sunday when we were doing our Sponsors Row, which was a huge hit at Findlay Toyota. There was, concerns about high winds for Monday.
Yeah, tell me kind of about that decision, because at the event at Findlay Toyota, a lot of people were asking you, hey, what's tomorrow looking like? Day 1, it's looking windy. I'm looking at my weather app, and I don't know what we're going to make of it. And you're standing there with a big decision to make. Yeah,
it's not the first time I've had to make that decision, but the right decision is never hard to make. At that moment, at Sponsors Row, when everybody was asking me, I still didn't have the answer for them because, I am the type of guy that likes to look at the current situations and not rely on forecasts, because forecasts aren't always correct. Fortunately for my decision, our decision, and the angler's safety, it was the right call to cancel on Monday because the winds were horrendous. It was an ugly day. The 2 flags were up first thing in the morning from the national park, and that's an indication that they won't allow an event to happen. We know a couple other events that succumbed to that issue and had to call some people back, and I wasn't about to have that happen. So, it was a tough decision, but the right decision, safety first, and we had to cancel. It's the second time that I've been running the Wombass U.S. Open that we've had to do that. But again, safety's first, and, it's just turns a 3-day event into a 2-day event, just makes it a pro-am style event. And everybody was happy and glad that we made that decision we did, because they knew it was bad. There's no reason to put people at risk, for this type of a situation. But
no. And I mean, see, I was working the launch ramp with you in the morning, and seeing everybody on Tuesday, after the first day was canceled, everybody was so ready to get out on the water. It's almost like they had that extra day to strategize and think about what their plan was, and they were ready to hit the water on that Tuesday and Wednesday for that matter. So tell me about this. We had high winds, low water. How did this weigh-in take place? We did an on-the-water weigh-in. Tell me about that whole process.
Come hell or low water, right? We just forgot about the wind part. But yeah, the on-the-water weigh-ins were a necessity, because when I'm trying to think of, the process to get these 200 plus boats and fish and people processed, there's, process of elimination, looking for the weakest link. And I knew because of the low water that the weigh-ins that we normally do up top would be where that kink would happen. If guys aren't able to get their boats on the trailers in a timely manner to get up top to weigh in, that's where the bottleneck would happen. So, with Colville Bay and Kim Roundtree and their staff down there, we met a couple weeks prior to the U.S. Open, put a quick plan together to add an additional section of dock to their main dock down there so that we could do the on-the-water weigh-ins as well as the on-the-water single file launch that we pulled off, which we worked on in the Cal Open at Clear Lake, did the same thing. So, it was, the guys are used to me throwing a couple changes at them or things that will help the process. And this was just something that we all believed would help the process. And it did. I mean, it was smooth. It went really well. Guys were very happy with it. They were so happy that they hope that we continue to do on the water weigh-ins as we progress. But, at least for next year, we know we're going to be doing the same thing because the water's going to get even lower next year. So we just have to work on some backup opportunities for launch facilities and work with Colville Bay and maybe Hemingway to make the 40th anniversary come off without a hitch as well. So
yeah, got a big anniversary coming up. So
big one. Yeah. 10th anniversary of the Cal Open's coming up next year, and 40th anniversary of the U.S. Open coming up. So yeah, big stuff coming.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and the other cool part about the on-the-water weigh-in, we were doing our live stream, so people were able to watch the boats come straight up to the dock and unload their catch, and you can actually see their whole rig. You can see their boat, their motor. You can see all their electronics. You can see everything that they're using as they're about to win a Bass Cat boat and almost $100,000 in cash. So, I mean, it was a cool experience to see everybody just pull straight up from their day of fishing, and there was just no hiccups. The action was right there on the water.
Talk about cool. You got to go check out the YouTube video we just posted on wonews.com that John Ziola put together about this year's U.S. Open, because if you want to really feel how and where and what happens at the U.S. Open, he captured every moment to a T. And part of that was on the water weigh-in where, with only 2 days, you can't do the drama ending that we typically do because of how we do our day 3 launch. But fortunately, we're able to pull a few of those top 5, top 6 guys to the side, make them wait till the last minute while Roy sat on the Bass Cat hot seat trying to find out who was going to take him off. And one by one, the last few guys came up. There's Gunnar Stanton that had 10 pounds each day that did real well. You had Cliff King, our Angler of the Year, after 3 events, that was right there and got second place at the U.S. Open, just short of beating Roy Hawk. Rusty Sawitzki was the last guy coming up, which was, kind of built that drama right there at the end. He was the only one that could take Roy Hawk off the hot seat and keep him from winning a second U.S. Open trophy, which is a feat in among itself. I mean, Roy Hawk's already won 1, but now he's joined a list of guys, which is a small list of guys that have won 2.
Yeah.
And now he's got a chance to go after Aaron Martin's and Cliff Perch's record of 3. That was another aspect of the whole U.S. Open was, this event was dedicated to Aaron Martin's. Prior to the U.S. Open running and concluding, he was still fighting the good fight. And unfortunately, after the U.S. Open, when we were at Cabo, we found out that he had passed. But we had dedicated that event to Aaron, and since then dedicated the U.S. Open trophy in his name for as long as the U.S. Open goes from here on out. So it'll be the Aaron Martin's Memorial U.S. Open trophy from here on out. So, but a lot of cool stuff happened this year. Amazing events, great support from our sponsors, Bass Cat Boats and Mercury Motors, and all of our other sponsors that are integral in making Juan Bass, the number 1 participated Pro-Am circuit there is out here in the West.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's jump to a clip really fast. This is probably the only recorded clip of Roy Hawk, the time between his weigh-in and him finding out that he won.
Both days were really, really tough fishing. I mean, I think we only caught 6 keepers today, and we only caught 5 keepers yesterday.
Yeah, were you junk fishing? Did you guys pattern them out pretty good?
I was mainly throwing a jig and a drop shot.
Jig and a drop shot.
Yep.
And you guys were on key locations?
Yeah, mainly on points.
Mainly on points?
Yep.
Did you have to make a far run?
No.
Okay, pretty close to the ramp here?
Fairly close.
Fairly close. Okay, cool. Well, anything else you want to share with anyone out there right now?
I just hope I win.
Let's get you in that hot seat right away then.
So off to the hot seat he went. Roy ended up kicking Gunner off the hot seat and ended up sitting there until Rusty Sawitzki came up, and it was a huge nail biter. I mean, it was my first U.S. Open that I've been to, but the suspense was palpable. It was crazy sitting there and seeing this all come together. So we had Rusty on stage, we had Roy Hawk up there. And tell me about what happened. I know they were really close, just a couple pounds.
Yeah, well, Rusty had the day 1 lead, and ironically, he fished with Dave Shearer, who was the same guy who fished with Roy Hawk on day 2, and we'll be talking about him in a little bit. But Rusty had a little over 10 pounds day 1. He went out and ended up day 1 leader. So after Cliff had weighed in and didn't take Roy off the hot seat, there was only one other guy that could do it, and it was Rusty. Rusty came up, and if you check out that video I mentioned earlier on YouTube, you'll see the suspense there. There was just 2 guys standing, 1 bag of fish that could determine. I think he needed 9 something to take Roy off the hot seat and win his first U.S. Open championship, which Rusty would have been a great person to win it. Someday he probably will. He's doing real well out there in the circuit and fishing other events across the East. And, to have all of those trials and tribulations and roadblocks and things that had happened, along the way to culminate in the last few minutes there with Roy Hawk and Rusty at the last moment there to crown Roy his second U.S. Open title was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
The energy was just high. It was so quiet. Everybody that was surrounding us, floating in boats, It was just quiet, waiting for that last minute. And then when Roy was crowned, everybody was cheering. His wife was cheering. Chris Kinley and all his buddies, Chris and he I think they mentioned something about a jig my jig they had made. So a lot of cool stuff. It just was a great ending to a great season.
Yeah. So here's Roy's reaction right after he won.
I don't know, man. I'm stoked, I'll tell you.
We're all shaking back here in the tent.
I know. No, just super excited. It's a real blessing, to win it once and to win it twice it's unbelievable. I really, I knew I had a good bag, but I didn't realize I had that much. And to actually come away with the win was quite a surprise, and just thankful for the opportunity and just the chance to live in this moment with my wife and my son, and and what it's going to mean to our family.
Yeah, it's awesome. Everyone was kind of back here biting their fingernails waiting for that last boat to come through, and it was just... Yeah. What was that last big fish caught on again?
A homemade jig that Chris Kinley makes. We call it My Jig.
My Jig.
Yeah, My Jig. And then it had a Yamamoto Psycho Dad trailer.
All right, so obviously Roy was ecstatic, but we went up to the award show afterwards where he was presented with all of his cash and prizes, and most notably, what did he win, Billy?
Well, notably, he won, obviously we didn't have 250 boats, which is what the $100,000 payout is based out on, but he won $83,000 in cash. He won a brand new 2022 Bass Cat Cougar with a Mercury 250 on it, a power pole, next-gen lithium batteries, electronics, trolling motor. That package was worth a little over $70,000. So it wasn't a bad day for Roy Hawk. And
yeah.
If you, check out that video we mentioned on YouTube, he talks a lot about what that meant to him. Not only a second, championship, winning here at the U.S. Open, but, the trials and tribulations of national touring, to win an event like this, basically set him up for the end of the year, because he was, having a hard time getting back from the East Coast and the tour that he'd been on. And this was the icing on the cake for him. And, he wasn't the only winner here at the U.S. Open. We have, we pay, 1 in 5. So there's lots of guys got checks as well. But on the AAA side, David Shearer from Irvine, just here locally, one of my buddies, I used to call him Rattlesnake Dave because he had a exclusive membership to Rattlesnake Lake. So he'd take Liam and I fishing a lot. I've known Dave for a number of years, but he got paired again with Rusty Sawicki on the first day and Roy Hawk on the second day, and ended up becoming the 2021 AAA champion, winning a 4-track Honda from HB Honda, worth about $5,000. He won $1,000 in hook. I'm sure he got some big fish money, big stringer money 2 days in a row. He walked away with a pretty penny. You know?
The first day we were just chasing the shad.
Chasing shad.
Were
you guys offshore or back in the coves?
Off and back in the coves. We didn't go way back in the coves. We just went, to where Rusty thought, hey, this is it. I never caught anything back here, and we stopped and fished where he said, let's get it. And he gave me a bait. I used my baits, and then I used his, and we went to town.
Yeah. Were you doing a lot of netting for him, helping?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a team effort, that's for sure.
We did a lot of netting on the first day.
Yeah. On that first day, were you guys using a lot of electronics, or were you guys visually seeing fish on the surface?
Visually. He knew where they were at, and we just went and got them.
All right, and fast forward to day 2. What did you guys do different?
I fished in the
close to the ramp.
We
right?
fished. Yeah, we were only 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
We were down in Vegas Wash,
and you guys were targeting them how?
We were targeting them with jigs off of points and drop shot.
Do you know how many feet of water you guys were in?
We were in water as deep as 60 feet.
Wow. Yeah. You guys hooked fish in 60 feet of water?
Probably 40.
Okay.
But we were sitting in 60 when we hooked them in.
So you're fishing the meter. You're watching them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. like Rusty, Roy knew, where they were at.
Yeah, but two different styles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 different fishings, big difference, 2 days. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, and we're about to start the award show here, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you next year.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's kind of the beautiful part of these tournaments and the shared weight format, is that it turns it into kind of a team sport, and anybody can really enter this tournament as a AAA, no boat necessary, and you could be standing up there on that stage with some of the biggest names in bass fishing.
Yeah, the entry fee is much less than it would be for a pro entry, $1,600, AAA is $600, but in reality, you get to fish with given the fact that we'll have 3 days of a tournament, typically 3 separate pros each day. And you can't get a guide for a single day for less than $500, $400, let alone 3 days with guys that are helping you catch fish, giving you the equipment, putting you in the right spot, to not only have a great time, learn a lot of information and fishing techniques, but come away with some pretty good money as well, like David did. So, if anybody's interested in, giving it a shot, I keep telling everybody, if you ever fish one event, you'll be fishing the rest forever, because it's a life-changing event. You build friendships that you meet, because it is a shared weight format. You're not competing against that pro in the boat. It's just a different monster. And people walk away with lifelong friendships out of these events, the AZ Open, Cal Open, U.S. Open, and our new one coming up, the Laughlin Open.
Let's talk about 2022, and there's actually more opportunities than ever to jump on the WON Bass train here. So February we have the Arizona Open, and then historically March was an empty month. But now March 2022 will be the home of what event? Tell us about this event.
March 2022 is going to be the Laughlin Open at Catherine's, which is at Lake Mojave, and brought to you by the LTC out there, which is the Visitors Bureau of Laughlin. We started working with them about a year ago, talking about an event that we wanted to put on and partner with them, and everything kind of came together real quick. And we thought originally we were going to be in June, but during the summertime, there's just too much vacation traffic and, wake boats and ski-doos and all the stuff that happened there. So
and heat.
But the fishing's not too bad in June either. But March turned out to be the time that they really wanted to put on an event like this, and they really partnered with us to do so. So we've got the first ever Laughlin Open at Catherine's at Lake Mojave, which is going to be a gas, because, Mojave's like fishing at Clear Lake for smallmouth, to potential of 22 to 25 pound bags of smallmouth for 3 days is, getting a lot of guys mouth watering. So
yeah, bring the muscles, because the guys working the scales that day.
I'm not going to be lifting any fish those 3 days. We got Mr. Tracy Purdy that's going to be doing that for us, the heavy lifting. But, that's going to be in March, the 23rd through the 25th. And then right after that will be, the 10th anniversary Cal Open at Clear Lake, which I think is the 13th through the 15th, if my memory is correct. I know it's on our website, wombass.com or wonews.com. Speaking of, you can go to either wombass.com or wonews.com, click on the events page, find our entries. You can put deposits down for all the events right now, whether it's the AZ Open, Cal Open, Laughlin Open, or the U.S. Open, whether you're a pro or co. Get your deposits in, because I've got a 5-inch thick stack of entries that I'm putting in the computer right now, and typically we sell out by Christmas or New Year's. So once I get those entered, we'll notify everybody. But come on in, have a good time. There's Bass Cat Boats and Mercury Motors are sponsoring all 4 events this year. The AZ Open, Cal Open, and U.S. Open will once again be part of the points race for 2022. The Laughlin Open for now will be a standalone event that we're doing there, but it's, I think, going to be the cherry on top for the season. So looking forward to an awesome year coming up with all of our great sponsors. Check out Western Outdoor News, wonews.com, wombass.com, our social media, and Facebook and Instagram, and, keep in touch and get involved. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah. Join the team. And obviously, if you're listening to this, you love fishing, and this is a way to experience a hobby like you've never experienced it before. So jump aboard, and we'll see you at one of the 4 events next year. So that does it for another episode of the Western Outdoor News Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in fishing any of the 2022 WON Bass events, head to wonews.com under the events tab, and you can sign up from there. If you are fishing some of these newly reopened areas, according to the CDFW, from Seal Beach to Dana Point, send us a report, or you can call in to our voicemail line in the show description and let us know how the fishing's been since everything's been reopened. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you all next week.